Good evening, everyone. I, Koina Biswal, student president of Amrita Vidyalayam, welcome you all to Tête-à-tête with a journalist politician. Today we have with us Mr. Tathagata Satpathy, son of Nandini Satpathy, former Chief Minister of Odisha. He was a member of the Lok Sabha of India 4 times. He is the owner and editor of Odia daily, Dharitri and English daily, Orissa Post. We are honored bound to have you on board, sir.
Thank you very much, Ms. Koina, for inviting me to your Zoom meet. How can I help you?
So we are having a few questions based on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and these questions have remained unanswered even after 75 years of independence. Today's youth really needs answer to these questions. Since you have been a member of the Lok Sabha 4 times, so you have a good experience with the Lok Sabha discussions. Often we talk about India's diverse culture and its glorious history. There was colonization even before the British rule, and we were never together. Did this regionalism affect our mindset so much that 350 million Indians were ruled by just 2 lakh Britishers for over 200 years? So don't you think that it would have taken just one day to get freedom had all the Indians united together? What do you think was the root cause, and what measures can we take in the future so as to ensure that this does not happen once again?
Maybe people had started thinking that the era of colonization is over and that countries will no more go to serious conflicts, physical conflicts like wars and battles, to annex land. But those notions have been thwarted by the Russian-Ukrainian war, where Russia has invaded a much smaller country, and also the way very many countries across the world have positioned themselves on both sides of the conflict. So it shows that annexation of land and if not direct colonization of yesteryears of the past centuries, but indirect colonization through economic strength is still a potential threat for the future. So there is every possibility that a country like India can get invaded militarily. And the border, till now, you see, Indians have not faced any wars at their doorstep. For us, a war is somewhere in the Himalayas, or somewhere in Ladakh, or somewhere in Arunachal Pradesh, or in Rajasthan, or Punjab. It has never, It has never, it has never occurred to us that we can have a war which will be like what they are seeing in Ukraine today, or what they have seen in Afghanistan and many African and South American countries. Therefore, a lot of people in India talk about war and talk about attacking Pakistan or driving China back. But reality is that India's strength does not lie in its so-called unity. India's strength, in my opinion, lies in our diversity. We as a country are very many parts, small parts, which have come together very willingly and sometimes not very willingly. And we have decided to form a country. It is not one religion that makes a country. If that would have been the case, then one could have said that whole of Europe would have been one country because they're all Catholics. But they have different languages, different countries, different histories, different wars they have fought, different leaders, different types of economy. And that is why Europe till now has remained as an advanced area across in the world, where education is of very high quality, where the people who come out of Europe, whether they go to the US or they go elsewhere, they are the ones who invent things, who are the inventors, who are the explorers. So from history till today, till the present day, we find that Europe has always been in the lead role. And that is because they have accepted and they honor their diversity. So in my opinion, India as a federal country should remain federal, should be tolerant of every single part. There is no need that I, as an Odia, should be forced to eat dokla every morning, which is the staple food of Gujaratis. But I should be allowed to eat my chuda and bananas and yogurt as a normal Odia, the kind of food I have been eating. Similarly, a Tamilian or a Malayali would prefer to have an idli or a dosa for breakfast. So we have to learn to honor our diversity, to honor the differences, to appreciate the differences, and only with that appreciation and that respect for each other can we remain united. Otherwise, there is, whether I can, maybe somebody would label me anti-national, but there is a possibility that we can again break up like we were before 1947. We can again break up if there is tremendous pressure to bring about a oneness, like one language, one party, one economy. It's not the currency part I'm talking about, or it's not the Reserve Bank, but one economy means somewhere it is agricultural economy, somewhere it is industrial economy, somewhere it is trade economy. So every type of economy has today built up on its own accord. It is no politician or no political party which has actually built India. It is the Indians who have built India as we see it today. It is the same Indians who worked against each other and invited the Mughals. It is the same Indians who worked against each other and brought the English, invited the English into India. So that has been our history. To stop that from happening, we have to understand that we cannot force ourselves to become one. We will become one only when we like each other. If you like me, you will talk to me. If you do not like me, or if you think everything I say is going against you, you will obviously not talk to me. But at the same time, I would also like to state that there has to be tolerance. It is not necessary that everything I say has to be accepted by you, or everything you want need not be accepted by me. So you have to honor my opinions. I have to honor your likes, dislikes, and your opinions. Only when this kind of a tolerance, this kind of a federal attitude is consciously, through government, through economy, through society, imbibed in every Indian, then only I think we can last for a long time to come as one country. Otherwise, we will remain one country because, three sides of this subcontinent is covered by oceans, is guarded by oceans. One part is covered by high mountains. So like in the past, it has protected us from too many invasions. Now also it is forcing us to be in a geographical boundary. But geographical boundary need not necessarily create one unified country. So once we understand these basic differences that we have with other nations, I think we will have a happier and a more prosperous future. I think I've answered.
So do you think that the dream of Akhanda Bharat can be achieved? Doesn't diversity in culture lead to discrimination among various regions? Can we embrace the statement, I am an Indian, instead of saying I belong to so and so region, etc.? What's your opinion about this?
What is the harm if I say I am an Odia? What is the harm if a Gujarati says he or she is a Gujarati? What is the harm if a Malayali says that I am a Malayali, my language is Malayali? I do not see any harm in that. This desire to bring everybody into under one umbrella is what is damaging our society. The British failed because they thought they could rule the whole subcontinent from one place in Delhi. The Mughals thought they could occupy everything and control it from one place. So again, we are repeating that mistake. Our constitution, the way it is written, if you have read it, it very clearly acknowledges the existence of every part of this country. Therefore, I think it is very good that I claim I am an Odia. A Bengali claims she is a Bengali. A person from Bihar claims he is from Bihar. A Rajasthani claims he is a Rajasthani. Everybody's language is so beautiful. Everybody's costumes are so attractive. Everybody's food is so tasty. I would not like a standardization. There is no need to bring in force and say that everybody has to be an Indian. Why? We are Indians. But I don't have to say that. When I go abroad, I obviously say I am an Indian. I don't say I'm an Odia. Suppose I travel to the US, when people ask me where you from, I don't tell them I'm from Orissa. I tell them I'm from India. So that is outside, it is fine. It happens automatically. We don't have to tell anybody. But within the country, no, I vehemently assert that individuality, regionalism must be encouraged in this country if we want this country to remain as united and in one piece.
All right, sir. I hope today's youth has got the answer to one of the most unanswered questions after 75 years of independence. So how do you consider the history of India post-independence? Often we criticize our own history and a fraction of it remains a hidden mystery. As the future of India, don't you think we should be aware of our past and not stay aloof from the bitter reality? What's your opinion on this?
What is bitter reality, Koina? Listen, while you were a very young child, when you grow up and when you are 40, 50 years old, you will look back to this time, 8th of November 2022 or 7th of November 2022, and you will say, you might say that, oh, that was a terrible mistake our government did at that time, or our society did at that time, for which we are suffering. There is a possibility that you will say that after half a century. But if you flip that outlook and you look back 50 years ago, what happened, you may also feel that, well, the decisions they took at 50 years ago were correct and the best suitable for that time. See, many a times it must have happened in your life, or since you're very young, it will happen. If you are in college, then some kid insults you or talks nonsense or behaves rude. And at times you feel like, what will I tell him? How do I react? Sometimes we feel maybe we should not react. Sometimes we feel I don't know how to react. Sometimes we are incapable to react. Suppose it's a bully and a stronger person, we think it is better to keep quiet. Later on, when we go home, then we sit and think, oh my God, if I would have just told him this one line, I would have shut him up. That is the intelligence that comes afterwards. So when we sit and criticize history and find faults with X, Y, Z, that Akbar did not do this, Babur failed here, Humayun could have done this, Sardar Patel did this, Nehru could not do this. Tomorrow a time will come, people will say, Modi did this wrong, or so and so did this right. But what I believe, what Nehru did at that time during his lifetime, he did to his best of his abilities, to the best of his abilities. What Modi is doing now is to the best of his abilities. Whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not is another question. Whether it will be good for the future, for the country, for the economy, for the society, that only the future will decide. But what he is doing now is best to his abilities, as far as his knowledge goes, as far as his experience goes, as far as he can handle the government machinery, or he has a command over it. He's doing his best. Similarly, Indira Gandhi, she did the best that she could. She thought that I want to divide Pakistan and make two different countries. She did it. So whether it is good to have a Bangladesh and a Pakistan now, or bad to have a Bangladesh and Pakistan now, maybe you can, when you become 50 years old, you will decide. But at that time, she thought that was the best decision. Nehru thought that was the best decision. Humayun thought that was the best decision. Aurangzeb also, today we criticize him that he was bad, he was this, he was that. But at that time, he thought it is the best decision. So he did it. Now, who put him up there? It is us people who put him up there. They became rulers because we cooperated. Today, Modi is a ruler because we have voted him. And if we find faults with Modi today, maybe 50 years later, the people will appreciate those faults. Or where we praise him today, that he's a great man, 50 years later or 100 years later, they might, or 75 years later, they might criticize him. That, oh my God, he destroyed this country with demonetization. He destroyed the country by doing this. We don't know. That's for the future to decide. So looking back at history should be without bias. We are not entitled to say what is good or bad in history, because that was the best that could happen at that time. But what we can do by looking back at history is to learn some things which we think were mistakes, which we will correct it now. But blaming history is a very wrong approach in life.
Right, sir. So my next question to you is on one of the current topics, current news that's going on everywhere. So it's whether we should have pictures of political leaders or Lakshmi and Ganesha on the currency notes. So do you think it is important to have pictures of political leaders or Lakshmi and Ganesha on the currency notes? Or is it just for political mileage? Because according to me, no specific person can be the face of the country, because Bharat existed even before those political leaders were born. Why can't we just have the national emblem on the currency notes?
When did the national emblem come into existence?
Okay, that was post-independence, I guess. Or
1947 or 1950?
Yeah, yes.
With the constitution, right?
Yes, sir.
But every country acknowledges that one person has helped in creating a new nation. Like Turkey, they have a leader who was not a political leader, but who brought about a revolution and who is revered in that country, no matter whether it becomes Islamized or it becomes, it leans towards the West, whatever, whichever way it goes, they recognize that that one person built the country as it is today. Similarly, the US has one face on the dollar, because they realize that that one person, it is not just the geographical land that makes a country. Country is where the people live. The people are a country. So those, the North Americans and the Confederates, the people from the northern part of the US and the Confederates, they were brought together by one person. So they have that one person's photograph on their currency. The Britishers, they believe that their monarch, whether it was till now it is the Queen's photographs, maybe in the coming months or years we will see King Charles photographs, they put those photographs. We, whether we like it or not, whether we are influenced by this ideology or that ideology, we have to admit that it is not Subhash Bose who brought freedom to the country. He was nowhere there in sight. It was not Bhagat Singh who brought freedom to this country, but it was one frail Gujarati man. He may be very conniving, he may be very shrewd, he may have been very smart to realize that Indians are incapable of violence, Indians are incapable of discipline. So he never took Indians on a similar path as a leader who followed Gandhi did in South Africa. So recognizing the forte and the characteristics of the people of this subcontinent, he devised few methods by which he could defeat the British. He knew that intrinsically Indians are disobedient. So he launched a movement called the Civil Disobedience Movement. Now, why civil? He could have called it military disobedience movement. He knew Indians are cowards. We want some poor person's son to be recruited into the army and fighting, and we will clap when that kid dies by terrorist fire or by Chinese beatings. We clap and we talk that our soldiers are standing in Siachen. Don't talk about so and so. But now when our political motives are over, we forget our soldiers. So understanding this characteristic, Gandhi, what he did, he brought about civil disobedience, where the people will just disobey. If the British are saying drive on the left of the road, we normally drive on the right of the road or in the center of the road. If the British told us do this, Gandhi told them don't do that, disobey. So disobedience is in our nature. The British said take proper good salt. We were told in the Dandi March, the Indians were told in the Dandi March, don't take their salt, you make your own salt. So by these small quirky movements, this is my opinion, Gandhi managed to exasperate the British. The British were sick and tired of controlling the Indians. So it is not 2 lakh Britishers against 34 crore Indians. At that time, we were not 150 crores. We were only 34 crores. So it is not 2 lakhs versus 34 crores. It is a superior mind controlling a disorderly, indisciplined group of minds. Today also we are disorderly, indisciplined, disobedient. So if we do not have a good, disciplined set of minds to control us, to take care of our things, we will again fall apart. So having Gandhi on the currency is not something bad. It is not something, Gandhi is not a politician. He did not run for office. He had a target in his life. He wanted the Brits out of India. He achieved it. How many of us can claim that whatever targets we have set for ourselves, we have achieved? Okay, an IAS officer may say, I had a dream of becoming an IAS officer, I've become an IAS officer. That's not a dream. That's a job seeker. A job seeker can always get a job. But somebody who dreams large for many millions of people. How many can achieve their goals? Very few. Gandhi achieved it. So we should also realize that what our forefathers had to go through, your great-grandfather, your great-grandmother, when they were there during independence, what they had suffered, you are not suffering. The way they lived, you are not living like that. The clothes they wore, you are not wearing clothes like that. Today you are sitting on a Zoom call. If you could time travel and go back and talk to them about your great-grandfather and great-grandmother about Zoom call, they won't understand what you're talking about. They'll think, oh, this is somebody of our blood, but she's come back from the future. And what is she talking? Is she mad? This is how they will think about you. So, are you mad? You are not mad. Why you are not mad? Because you represent one time. They represent another time. So they were not mad, or they were not bad, or they were not good also. They represent one time, like you represent one time. That's it. So you have to respect, you have to understand that everybody is time bound, is living a short life. Like they say that an average Indian male lifespan is 72 years. An average Indian female lifespan is 76 or 78 years. Okay. So we are on earth for approximately that much time. Our reference is according to our time. I don't know how people were doing business in Aurangzeb's time. Do you know how they were doing business or what they were dealing with? We don't. Similarly, currency is a photograph on a currency of a great leader is also a way of reminding people that it is this man, the father of the nation. Like in Turkey, they have Atatürk. In the US, they have Washington. In the UK, they have their king. In France, they have their picture of their revolution. It is all to remind people continuously that these high, lofty ideals that we want to live by were propounded by these people. So do not always condemn what is past, and do not label Gandhi as a politician. Washington was not a politician. Atatürk was not a politician. Atatürk was a soldier. Have you heard of Atatürk, Kemal Atatürk?
Not really.
Okay, read up on him.
Sure, sir.
So they have his photograph on the currency. They have big plazas after his name. They have honored him. They even have Atatürk's photographs in private homes. Today, if you put a picture of Gandhi, people will laugh at you. But that is because they do not know who they are themselves. Their great-grandparents must have been following Gandhi. So, having a photograph on a currency is not a bad idea. And we cannot keep changing those photographs or those currency notes like presently people in India think it to be a good thing. It is not a good thing. Most countries with rich pasts have somebody who has brought about the country as it is today. It is not Bharat. There is nothing called Bharat. There was no Tamil Nadu in Bharat. Kalinga was never a part of Bharat. The land you are born in, was never a part of Mughal India, was never a part of British India, was never a part of the Afghani kings who ruled up to Bengal and up to Tripura. Similarly, Nagaland was never a part of Bharat. Mizoram was never a part of Bharat. It is the British who brought it in. So we have had many parts which have come together. So the concept that Bharat existed, there was no Bharat. Bharat, if you take, was a very small part of Uttar Pradesh, present-day Uttar Pradesh. So it only applies to them. Is that what we want? That should be the country?
No, sir.
See, so there is the concept of Bharat itself can be questioned.
Right, sir. So
Making sense, Koina? Can you understand what I'm saying?
yes, I'm understanding what you're trying to say and what you're trying to convey to the youth. So my next question is that BJD is doing a great job in Odisha, right? So if every regional party starts serving the respective regions like BJD, then our country will progress at a faster rate. Unfortunately, various political leaders are trying to convert regional parties into national parties, and then they are getting caught in the rat race of becoming the prime minister. This drives them away from their promises. So according to me, now the word Rajniti should get shortened to Raj only because there's hardly any Niti left in the present time. What's your say on this?
I fully agree with you completely. What you are saying is correct. I also agree with you in the sense that regional parties are the need of India. No national party can solve all the problems of this country. Regional parties should survive, should be stronger, should come together to form a government that is unified, which takes into its fold all the regional parties. And I also appreciate that you understand what you just said about Raj and Niti. It is more or less just grabbing power, but the higher goals of taking people along. See, I believe development is not meant for industrialists and businessmen. Development should be of the people. But we consider development is only for the rich. That is a wrong approach. So what you are saying, that they want to do only Raj and they are forgetting the Niti, that is very correct. And that is the sad part of present day India or Indian politics.
Really very sad to know. So, and like I would like to say that BJD really deserves to be a national party. So do you want to see it as a national party in the coming years? If yes, then why? If not, then why as a regional party only?
BJD, see, I'm not in the BJD anymore. I was in the BJD. I did not resign from the party, but the party, my party membership expired on May 30th, 2019.
Yes.
I never renewed it. So I am not in any political party. And I don't think BJD should become a national party. It should remain a state party. It has always been, the people of Orissa have always preferred a state party. Today it is called BJD. Earlier it was called Janata Dal. Prior to that it was called Janata Party. Before that also it had Jana Congress by Mehtab, it had Swatantra by R.N. Singhdeo. So it is a chain of different names, but one thought drives it. And that thought is of Orissa. So I think BJD should remain regional and there should be more regional parties. And if BJD becomes national, there will be another regional party which will come into existence in Orissa. And BJD may lose power in Orissa and that regional party will take over power. That is also possible.
Yeah, and regional parties are doing really good. And if every regional party starts collectively organizing their particular regions, then our nation will surely prosper one day. So one last question to you is, what message would you like to give to today's youth on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav?
What message? See, the youth knows everything. Today's youth does not need to be told go left, go right, go center. They know everything, or at least they think they know everything, even if they don't know. And I believe that the youth in India has to go beyond the mindset of seeking a job, becoming an aspirant for a job, and should consider if they can be efficient in any one thing, but super efficient, be the best in the world. If the youth in India, we always talk about the youth force and the number of young people we have in this country. But I always feel that the young in India are actually becoming a burden for this country, because they are just passing the exams, they are mugging up the books, whether with the CBSE system or the ICSE system. Then they're going into colleges. If they get into the IIMs or the IITs, their dream is to go to California. If they can't do that, then they want to become something else and somehow get a job and somehow earn a living. But if the youth of India could excel in any one thing per person, not only their lives will become better, but the whole country will actually prosper.
I hope that today's youth will surely brainstorm on these questions of utmost importance. Thank you very much, sir, for devoting a part of your precious time to this interview. It was indeed pleasure meeting you and knowing your views and opinions. Thank you very much.